W.F. Howes presents an unabridged recording of How to Fix Northern Ireland by Malachi O'Doherty, narrated by Alan Turkington. For Maureen. A note on the text. In this book I have departed from the customary use of uppercase for reference to religious designation, as in Protestant, capital P, Catholic, capital C, etc. I use lowercase with reference to Catholic schools, Catholic people, Protestant streets, etc. I retain the uppercase for references to the institutional churches and to the ideologies. For example, the Presbyterian Church, Protestantism, etc. My logic is that the uppercase for a Catholic man implies a respect for the fact of him being a Catholic, whereas his being Catholic, his Catholicism, may be no more significant in his life than his being a footballer or a husband, neither of which would normally be uppercase. And these terms are used so much in this book that I think that, typographically, the ubiquity of the uppercase is inelegant. Prologue. It was the day of the referendum on the Good Friday Agreement. That agreement, 6 weeks earlier, had been celebrated as an historic breakthrough, bringing peace to Northern Ireland after 30 years of violence. The world saw Northern Ireland's trouble as some kind of confused religious war, a relic of religious wars in Europe which had ended 400 years before. In part, it was. Weren't the Irish nationalists Catholics and the British Unionists Protestants? Was that not centrally important? The naming of the agreement after that holy day on which it had been completed seemed also to recognize that religion was at the heart of the intercommunal dispute, and carried a suggestion that a spiritual breakthrough had occurred around the central fact cherished in both communities, that Christ had died for peace. For the poetically minded and the devout, that suggestion might have impressed. It echoed and perhaps finalized an earlier reference to Easter in the marking of historic Irish days, the Easter Rising of 1916. The agreement, however, was not poetic. It was the opposite. It had sought to encapsulate long-simmering passions as hard realities, and to seek a contractual agreement between bitter factions. It did this, at first, by paying respect to the forces that had contended with each other historically, acknowledged that each had...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?